Sometimes technology enters a domain where the stakes are no longer numbers, no longer dashboards, but human life itself. And in those spaces, like healthcare, every line of code becomes a pulse, every prediction becomes a breath, and every decision becomes a reflection of trust. AI in healthcare isn't about automation, it's about responsibility, it's about courage. Courage to design systems that will one day guide a doctor's hand, interpret a heartbeat on a screen, whisper an early warning about a patient who is silently deteriorating. When AI enters hospitals, ICUs, radiology labs, emergency rooms, it enters a sacred space where vulnerability lives, where families pray, where seconds decide destinies. And that is why security, integrity, fairness, explainability, human oversight aren't just technical requirements. They are moral commitments, short emotional lift. So today, as we step into day 16 of AISec Intel, we are not just studying AI. We are entering a discipline where cybersecurity meets humanity, where safety becomes compassion, and where trust becomes non-negotiable. Breathe. This journey is more than knowledge. It is an oath to protect every patient whose life may one day depend on the systems we build. Because when AI touches human life, trust is everything. In most industries, AI is a convenience. If it makes a mistake, someone loses time or money or comfort. But in healthcare, a mistake isn't an error. It's an event, a misdiagnosis, a delayed treatment, a missed deterioration, a moment that changes a life forever. Slow, reflective pause. Medical AI is different because its decisions echo inside the human body. A false negative doesn't stay on a model report. It stays inside a patient whose condition silently worsens. And that is why precision is not optional. Transparency is not optional. Accountability is not optional. Healthcare AI must stand on a foundation of clinical validity, not approximations, evidence-based assurance, not assumptions, continuous monitoring, not blind trust, deep emotional cadence. Every doctor, regulator, and patient needs one thing above all: certainty that AI is helping, not harming. Because families don't care about F1 scores or AUC curves, they care about outcomes. They care about safety. They care about hope. Sophisticated models, beautiful dashboards, cutting-edge architectures, none of that matters unless it protects human life. And that is why today we learn the principle at the heart of healthcare AI security. The more life-critical the system, the more uncompromising the trust. Close your eyes for a moment. Imagine a world where AI sees patterns a human eye cannot, detects risks earlier than any monitor, and helps doctors deliver care with extraordinary precision. This world is not the future. It is happening right now. With every radiology scan, AI becomes a second pair of eyes. With every triage system, AI becomes a guardian of time. With every drug discovery model, AI becomes a catalyst for innovation, slow inspirational rise. In diagnosis, AI uncovers hidden diseases. In imaging, it highlights tumors in places where human fatigue might overlook them. In ICUs, it watches every heartbeat, every breath, predicting deterioration hours before it becomes visible. Emotion. There are moments in medicine when minutes decide survival. Artificial intelligence gives back those minutes. And yet, with this power comes responsibility, because every transformation introduces a risk. Every new capability introduces a new vulnerability. So as AI accelerates healthcare, we must accelerate security, because the systems we build will stand beside doctors, will influence clinical judgment, will help decide who gets urgent care first, will shape the path of healing. This slide is more than a list. It is a reminder of how deeply AI is now woven into the fabric of human care. In healthcare, vulnerabilities don't remain vulnerabilities. They become consequences, they become stories, stories that begin with misdiagnosis, bias, hallucination, drift, and silently grow into avoidable harm, slow and tense. A false negative is not just a number. It is a patient who is sent home too early. It is a mother whose symptoms are dismissed. It is a child whose condition goes undetected. A biased triage system doesn't just make a mistake, it shapes who receives care first and who waits. It decides who is seen and who is overlooked. A hallucinated medical advice from an AI chatbot might feel harmless until someone follows it and delays real care. And model drift isn't a technical issue. It is a silent degradation of accuracy as populations shift, as diseases evolve, as regions differ. In clinical environments, small oversights can expand into system-wide failures. That is why we must approach healthcare AI like a surgeon approaches the operating table, with calm, with precision, with respect for the fragility of human life. Every vulnerability we ignore becomes a risk. Every risk we ignore becomes a story, and every story is a human being. Healthcare AI lives under the strictest regulatory eyes, and rightfully so, because when an algorithm becomes part of a medical device, it becomes part of patient care. Regulators are not slowing innovation, they are protecting the vulnerable. They are ensuring that AI earns the right to operate in clinical environments. Slow, authoritative tone. In the United States, the FDA demands transparency and real-world monitoring. In the EU, MDR and the AI Act treat healthcare AI as high risk because lives depend on it. In India, CDSCO and ICMR enforce clinical validation, cultural context, and population alignment. These frameworks are not obstacles, they are guardrails, keeping AI safe, fair, and clinically meaningful. Deep reflective note. And as creators, auditors, CISOs, and AI security professionals, our responsibility is to ensure AI systems do not simply meet regulation, but exceed it. Because when a device guides a diagnosis, assists a surgery, or monitors a vital organ, it cannot fail, it cannot drift, it cannot guess. Regulatory compliance is not paperwork, it is patient safety written into law. In clinical AI, vulnerabilities are not mere technical flaws, they are silent fractures in the foundation of patient trust. Slow. Imagine a radiological image, just one imperceptible pixel pattern altered, nothing visible to the human eye. But to an AI model, it becomes a completely different reality. A malignant tumor suddenly appears benign. A critical lesion becomes invisible. A patient's life pivots without anyone noticing. Breathe. These are adversarial medical images, proof that even tiny manipulations can mislead powerful systems. But the deeper risks are the ones we cannot see. Hidden biases embedded in decades of clinical records, training data contaminated by subtle noise, miscalibrated confidence scores that make an AI sound sure of itself, even when it is deeply wrong. And in healthcare, misplaced certainty is dangerous because clinicians trust risk scores, nurses trust alerts, patients trust recommendations, and trust, when misplaced, becomes vulnerability. Clinical AI requires more than accuracy. It requires honesty, the ability to say, I am not certain. It requires humility, the ability to let a human override its predictions. And it requires resilience to withstand attacks, noise, drift, and unexpected clinical scenarios. Because the cost of a misclassification isn't a failed recommendation, it is a human life affected in